Occupy Poughkeepsie, October 21st, 2011. About to enter the camp with the General Assembly meeting, which camera will probably be shut off during that. Please stand by. What's going on? I'm just trying to get some footage to put something together later. Bail out the people.
Brand new.
Why don't you, oops. No, I just don't have the light on. Is that too bright?
No, it's not too bright.
Alright. Why don't you tell me why you're here?
Okay.
And you can give me your name if you want?
Yeah, my name is Dave Bain.
Mm-hmm.
I live up near Uno's in the town of Poughkeepsie. I came here because of the fact that on the loop bus, there was a gentleman on the bus who told me that there was an event going on down here. And it was in regards to job creation. In a sense, I kind of took it in and said to myself, well, let me come down here for myself and see what's going on. So it took me a half hour to walk down here. And when I got down here, I met some nice gentlemen down here who let me in on what was going on. I backed them 100% on what they're doing. This should have happened 30 years ago, but it didn't. You see, in my era, there were jobs, people were more friendlier than they are now. I'd like to see if I can get that back again, if others could get together and stand up and be counted and take back this nation. The Constitution says, we the people, it must be that way. It can't be me. And this is the way the leadership has created it to be. And if we don't take it back, we're not going to get anywhere. Things are going to get worse. We've got to stop conquering the world, claiming we have a right to do the things we're doing to other nations when we do not. We refuse to see what we do to our own people in our own nation, not alone going somewhere else and conflicting harm on other countries. And it's just something that, you know, I'll never stop talking about. I'll always talk about wrong. I'll always try to see if I can correct it. And I want to make a difference in society if I can. I know it's hard, but somewhere you got to start. That's all for me.
All right, thank you very much. What do you feel that the last little question here? What do you feel the answer is right now? Because we got to spread awareness in order for this to truly spread. So, what do you feel the answer is?
Awareness has to be waking up society, waking up people, getting them back the way they used to be, where people were loyal to each other. People looked at what was going on around them. Today, they don't. Today, it's me, myself, and I. We've got to drop that part and get people back out in the communities to look at what has happened. We can't wait for the Messiah to come down the mountain. We look at our leadership as if they're the Messiah, and they're the ones who created these problems, and we're going to have to get them out. You can't keep them in for the rest of their lives. Some of these guys are 70, 80 years old. Some are in their 90s. They're not going to do anything for us. They're only going to get richer, and we're going to get poorer. And this is what they do. And they're crime creators. Because of their decisions, crime is created by what they say. We have to bring God back into this world. And that's it. We have to do that.
So in a sense, we are the saviors we've been looking for.
We are.
While we're all collectively one. We got to stop separating us from us.
That's right. We are the saviors. The Bible says it. We are. If you believe in what is right, do what is right. Don't pray and do nothing. This is what we're doing now. We separated church and state. We manipulated it to say God wanted it that way. No, God didn't. God wanted us to stand up for our own rights. And this is something that we refuse to see today. That's why you have so much violence all over the world. For every 1 million that believes in God, 50 million do not. And that's why we have violence all over the world. And the people that don't believe in it are the ones we're electing. It's the truth.
So in a sense, as Gandhi said, we got to be the change that we want to see in the world. We have to be the change.
That believes in God, 50 million do not. And that's why we have violence all over the world. And the people that don't believe in it are the ones we're electing. It's the truth.
So in a sense, as Gandhi said, we got to be the change that we want to see in the world. We have to be the change. Be the change.
It says we can all make a change. That's in my heart of hearts, that we can all make a change. That the apathy doesn't rule. So we're all able to get together, voice our opinions, such as we're doing down here in Poughkeepsie on Market Street in the Arterial, and make a change in this world. So, anybody that's watching this, if you could think of one injustice that's been done to you in the past couple of months, and then think about where it stemmed from, think about how you're affected by everything that's going on in this world today, and you'll realize that you need to change. The other side is the more important side to me. This right here is my philosophy that if you follow, I guarantee tomorrow you'll wake up feeling like a better person.
Read, think, change.
And mind you, you got to do all these things before they're illegal. Read, think, and change while it's still legal.
Well said. You want to say?
Think and change while it's still legal.
Well said. You want to say?
Okay, so we've been here for almost a week. It'll be a week on Saturday. For the majority of the time, it's been actually split up. There's been no majority. It's either in the park or on the street. Past night, we've had a sympathetic vote from the police, as far as my perspective. The fact that they didn't come mid-rain, pouring rain, and evict us is sympathy. So we can do one of two things. We can play on that, as we did last night, and continue staying in the park and occupying the park, or we can, without pushing the limit, move to the sidewalk. And I think that's something we should discuss. Anthony.
My reasoning behind that, a couple of things. I just think technically, it would make sense for them if, say, they didn't want us here or they wanted to put a stain on our name. They gave us citations. They've been cooperating with us. If then we stay here and we take advantage of the climate, which is what it was in the rain, they could tell whoever's in control or whoever would decide on giving us a permit that we are unruly and that there's really no point in letting us stay here. So I think that it could put a negative spin on what we're doing if we stay. And I also don't think it's that much work to pack up and get across the street. If we all work together, we can have a big go. Plus, I think the inspiring sources that we've had of what we're doing is everybody going out on the sidewalk, you know what I mean, all stacked up, neat, and everybody wanting to be out in the rain and, on the sidewalk. So that was my reasoning on that. I think that's really, I think all those things are really valid and make sense. For me, however, I have a feeling that I don't know, I kind of want to say, it's not about working. I have no problem with dropping setting up, bringing it in. It's just that because we were occupied, because a lot of us again talk about civil disobedience, I just don't feel like as with the movement, I think that probably originally the police didn't know what we were doing here. I think that I'm sure after these couple of days they've done some research. I think that perhaps they just understand what's behind us. And I kind of feel like the guys here does make a statement and it does allow us to be serious about what we're doing. And this is our and I just it's kind of from my heart and really backing it up with logical reasoning, but I kind of think that personally.
This is the movement. The movement is occupied. I think I'm in agreement with what Pat said. They were unsure of what we were doing. They thought we were a small force. Eventually, we will be a force to be reckoned with. Eventually, arrest will come. I think we should take it moment by moment. I think if the citation comes, then fine. We'll do it. We'll move. We can do it. It'll only take 5 minutes. I think we should test the limits. The idea of this is to civil disobedience. We are going against the norm. We are creating our own community. I love sleeping in, it's our home. It's where I get out of work and I come here. I might go home to shower, brush my teeth before I go to work, but this is where I sleep, this is where I live, and that's my perspective. With nothing to say, so I pose a question to the group. Do we stay in the park tonight? Disagree or agree? And this is the entire and those who aren't staying are okay, if you agree, stay in the park or disagree. And please vote, everyone.
I'm not staying here, but I want to say, just my part here. I think you should stay. Those that are actually staying here, I mean, I give you a lot of props. I think that's awesome. But you should stay here because, as you guys said, it is about occupy. It is about occupying, and the only, I think, benefit of being up on a sidewalk, I think, is that you're on level ground where more people will be able to actually see. But you guys are actually talking about going out tomorrow on the street and doing some great things as well. So that's the only piece that I could see. But I mean, as far as staying here, I think that would kind of go against the whole point of occupying if you were to I guess, unoccupy.
So, again, consensus to stay in the park.
Everyone's sitting here. Okay, that's it. Any other points? Bring up any key ideas? Open forum?
I started making a list of things that I think people should be educated on. Been researching a lot the last few years, so any current events or corporations or laws or people that you think we should all be educated on, just to know what's going around in the world or what's going on in the world around us. I started on a pizza box. There's a Sharpie attached to it, and pretty much every day, maybe every 2 days, I'm going to check to see if there's anything new on the list, go home, and print out information on these things. I'm going to start a little, I guess we'll shoot them in a box, put them all labels, so people can read up on them over here. So I would ask everybody to read. There's also on it, a positive or negative sign next to it, it just symbolizes whether it's a good thing or a negative thing.
What are credible sources? Really, what would you refer to? Say, this is good to read up on. I mean, I don't know, Wikipedia is well, I mean, who knows what's in there, even though it's supported by the public sources. Where do you read? Where do you learn? My opinion on that is credible sources yourself. Anything you can, depending on the topic you're trying to inform yourself on. If you wanted to research, the impact that the banking system has had on the economy or whatnot, I personally don't see that. I see that much as I can find, and then myself come to a consensus myself. Because you can't really, the dangerous part for me is consider something credible. Basically, jumping into their viewpoint and blindly trusting them in order to, basically it's observation. It's not learning. There's all kinds of organizations, people that you talk to. I know, for instance, the teacher unions that come down here and the information you gather, just think about it. There's really not one web page you go and say, yo, this is true. And that's how it is.
No. Yeah, no one's 100%. No one will ever be 100%. And what I suggest, if you're looking at anything, any news, any web page, anything at all, I mean, you always got to research the research. I mean, I'm an info junkie. I love information. And I'm going to tell you, there's so much information out there, but there's a lot of BS out there too. I mean, I think most of us here know by now that the major media outlets are FOS for the most part. I mean, there's a lot of propaganda being pushed. I mean, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, BBC, all of it. They all get their news from Reuters and AP. Okay? Reuters and AP are influenced by the Rothschild family, which are the same family that influence all of the major banking institutions. They own the IMF, the World Bank, the private Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, all that stuff. You know, where do you look? You, as he said, I think you got to see what resonates with you as well. You know, if it resonates within, then look it up too. Don't just say, well, it's got to be true or it's got to be false, because there's always fine lines between a lot of this stuff. And, you know, you really got to understand, you know, where a lot of this stuff actually comes from. Who finances it? Look at the writings of the actual people. Look at the writings going back to the 30s, back to the 1800s. You know, of the very people, the same bloodlines and all this that have manipulated this global financial crisis. And, you know, you just got to really look within to see without.
I just wanted to say one thing. Maybe not everyone knows there's no smoking during the GA here. If you're going to smoke out on the street, because we don't know, it's pregnant people, kids, everything like that. We don't smoke in the park. But actually, I thought we talked about not smoking in the park at all. And that's just, you know what I mean? Like, at least during the GA, I thought we're not having any smoking during the GA. So I'm not singling you out. I'm just saying you probably didn't know that. That's another thing we got to be really clear about. I know we're doing it as needed. We're not, you know, I mean, we're taking out some here. But I just wanted to say one other thing about the info. I know we'll talk about that more. I mean, I know we decided to be content. It's not about no smoking here at all. But, you know, if there's kids, if there's, you know, people that don't like it, we just try to stay away. If you're going to smoke in the park, we're going to stay separated, especially during the GA. We're trying to smoke here. That's fine. Another thing about the info I wanted to say. For me, I think it's really important to study both sides of every argument. So if you have an issue, go to the far left, go to the far right, go to the middle. I think that just to say don't look at the fringes is stupid, because, you know, there's people on the fringes that really do have valid points. But I think that we always have to look somewhere in the mix of the very far opposing views is the truth. And I think that we all know that we have to look at totally both sides of the argument, even if it's frustrating to look at it, to read it. Do that to see where other people are coming from. It also really helps with debate. You know, if people that are totally opposed to what you're saying, you know where they're coming from. You can see where they're coming from, and you can research where they're coming from too, so that you can help with in there. So I think any issue, you should have both sides of the argument kind of down. I think it's the only way to get credible information anyway. Look at both or all 4 or 5 things sides, whatever. Look at all sides. That's my opinion.
Right.
I think credibility is the main opinion to the end. No matter who has what to say, they have an opinion, and it's all opinion, and that's what we're all saying right now. Is read everything. Don't be misinformed. Educate yourself of the pros, of the cons, of the left, of the right, of private blogs, of public blogs, of the BBC, whatever you want to read. Just read everything in.
Different. Not on the same topic. Anyone else before I tell you? Alright, I'm gonna another chef on the asking the bar with the paper and a pen and a little bit, and we had the other night discussed ways to get the word out there. One of the things that I had mentioned was possibly doing a public food drive. Not only will that help us with supplies, but that's an excellent way to put information out there, because when people spend money on food to give to you, they want to know who they're supporting and what the idea is supporting. So great way to spread information. Plus, the food that we do get and the access that we have, you know, there's tons of hungry food around here. There's tons of hungry people around here, and we can give that to them. One of the things I'm putting this up for, once again, is a piece of paper and pen that I was told about. So, any volunteers, you know what I mean? Like, if I actually go far enough to really spend time to set this up, you know, I would like anybody who can, who's willing, I'm going to need at least one community people, 4 people who volunteer to help us run it. That's the store that we're going to go to. I'm not sure on the date yet, really depends on the stores and when they have free. But I do need bodies, y'all. We need like 3 or 4 people just to help do the actual food drive itself. Also, I need bodies to propose the idea of anybody. First of all, I think we need better signs, man. Better signs, y'all. I notice I drive by here a lot during the day, y'all, and if I didn't know what's going on here, I probably wouldn't know, unless I happen to be coming that way and see some of these great signs that are out here. One of the things I want to propose, Joe, is taking a march down to Vassar College and stand outside Vassar for a little bit of some time. Because once an idea reaches a college or an institution such as that, where there's a lot of young people going around with spread like wildfire. You know what I mean? And if you guys want to help get people down here, I think that's a great way to do it. Yes, with that, and also the last thing I wanted to say, which I'm sure you'll cover this about the march, is if you guys are planning a march tomorrow, I heard somebody brief about that. I want to close that not only for next district, but maybe a little bit up Main Street.
That's done. We just got a bunch of poster boards, big kind, of all different colors. My mom's she's really interested in what's going on here, so she's actually making a bunch of signs tonight for us. I'm pretty efficient that we can post out different places. Ideas for signs that can get a lot of information to the point across really quickly in a short amount of words. If you have any, please can talk to me after the TA.
Humor works. Humor works.
Humor, yeah. So anything like that. I just wanted to say, and this isn't really to get a consensus on anything, this is more a group of thought kind of. Talking to a lot of people that come in and out, and they have all things, okay, so what's the future? Okay, so what you're doing? Okay, so you're upset, what's the point? Okay, so what are your demands? Those kind of questions. I mean, the way to approach that, I mean, I don't know how, I don't know how to say it. There's a lot of people that can't be here all the time. We love them to come by. We love the support they give us. How to express the point of the beautiful thing that happens here while occupying and the actual bodies needed to occupy without kind of turning people off and saying, we're not trying to say that people who occupy are cool, people who aren't. You know, we're not trying to say that, but somewhat to really to make the foundation clear. Like, if I stand with a man on the sidewalk and I explain to him what's going on and we get into a little debate, come to the General Assembly worship and come hang out for a few hours, talk to a large amount of people. Like, somebody get the word out there about actually the physical presence of occupying, because we have now 700, 800 likes or whatever, and if even half those people spent some time here, we'd have huge numbers here. And supporting isn't just, clicking a button or reading something. I mean, that does something, it gets the word out there, but, I mean, it also shows us, who's serious here, like, who's really serious. I mean, at its foundation, this is a revolutionary movement. I mean, we've had movements for 10,000 years that are about talking about communities, and the thing that's beautiful about this is it's an actual physical occupation, it's a physical thing, it's a community building thing. And I don't want to alienate anyone, but there has to be some way to express that, please, if you really feel strongly about what's going on, the change is happening is during the occupation. So please, even if it's 3 hours, 2 hours, overnight, one night, that's where you really get a sense of the family, this growing family. Let's just, maybe we do a bio to talk about that, because maybe everyone that we talk to really get that point across. And to the media, so thank you so much for that.
I feel you on that. But in terms of the thing you said about Marshall on Main Street, I feel like that's a very good idea, because not many people in the community know even about the Wall Street protests, because a lot of people are too busy to watch television. And I know I live on South White Street, and everyone in my building loves me for being a part of this, and they're all in support of it. I know that I have all their signatures on the petition. I know that some of them are going to come down here tomorrow. So I feel that if we march through, especially some of the more impoverished areas, people will see what's going on. They're going to wonder what's going on. They're going to read our signs. They might even join us on the march. Who knows? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good point to go to the colleges. I know there's a lot of different views at Vassar. I went to Vassar for a little bit. There's a lot of different views at Dutchess. And Bard College, all these different colleges. I think there's a lot of great, things you can do there as well. To go to these different schools, the different marches, going into the different areas. So I think that's going to make more of an impact, in my opinion, is if people are on the street. Because here, in here, like I said, it's kind of down in a hole. You know what I mean? And that, I think, like when I came here, which was Tuesday, I heard it was going on, I think, Monday. I was driving around looking for it, and I couldn't find it. I actually walked down to the Mid-Hudson Bridge, and, I couldn't find it. So I think there's got to be more of a presence in other places, and, on the side of spreading it as well. I agree. I think it's great if you can come down here. Like, if you can't stay here, come down here when you can, like we do. It's only our second day here, so we're barely here, to be honest with you. But, we try to do the best we can. And I spoke to a few of you guys earlier that I do a weekly radio show called Awake and Aware Radio. And I would love to, the ones I did speak to, have you guys and dedicate an entire show to that. That way it gets spread internationally. It's an international radio show. It's small, but it's international. And I will post it. I'll make a whole video about it on YouTube as well. And I'll continue to try spreading it, because I do a group on YouTube or on Facebook that has thousands of people on it as well, for the same cause. And I think anything, passing out literature, passing out information, and even passing out DVDs, all that kind of stuff. It all makes a dent. So that's what I got.
I was just thinking, like, down in Wall Street, there's obviously, New York City, there's like a higher concentration of people in a small area, and there's a lot of people unemployed, and I think it was easier maybe for them to like gather people in terms of like a physical occupy. I don't know how to go about this, but get in contact with people who are unemployed and stuff like that. Like a lot of homeless people around here who would probably come here, most likely come here, and physically be here for an extended period of time. We should definitely go out there and get those people. And then also like these little work groups that focus on certain things like education. We should maybe have time posted when they meet, so people specifically interested in those topics could gather and assemble outside the GA. Just for people who aren't coming here all the time, like living here, it would be good for them. Maybe get them.
Yeah, he was like part of the birth of the movement in the 60s.
Right.
He created a lot of that kind of like the folk resistance movement. And he's big on the Clearwater, huge in the Hudson Valley. A lot of the songs that were sung he was called a communist and persecuted by the McCarthyism era. He's been doing this for a really, really long time. I think he's based in Beacon, I want to say. I think it's Clearwater. Like on Route 9 is where he stands like right at Burger King. Oh, okay. Well, and here's another thing, just real quick. A couple came here that were talking about wanting to get a permanent FDR place, an older couple, and saying that a lot of the older people want like a kind of a quaint, nice place to occupy, where it's like totally legal and there's no chance of anything. I mean, to me, like that's absolutely ridiculous. And on one hand, on the other hand, we have to really spread the word of why we're in Poughkeepsie. This is an impoverished area. There is class war actively going on in this area against people. Against people, keeping people down. There's no reason we're in Poughkeepsie. We're not trying to. You're going to start an Occupy up the road for the closet revolutionaries here. It's ridiculous. Like let's really. I'm not talking about mocking people. Anyone who's down to do something is great, but please, like, let's talk to these people who are trying to, like, they want to have like an overnight, like a little party, a little like 60s reunion or something. Like, what are we doing here? Like, come on, like let's get this word out to any of these people, any of these organizations. Let's post things on Facebook, post things on Occupy Hudson Valley. Like, if you care about what's going on, there are people already living here. Please give your support. Please come down. I keep saying this, but let's not disintegrate and go up before we even have like a cohesive body.
Also, in like the next 2 weeks or so, they're gonna be showing between like the political science and like history and whatever. They're gonna be showing the documentary Inside Job, and then a week later they're gonna do a whole thing about the occupation, Wall Street, and basically I'll probably be speaking and everyone at school that we're here.
Yeah, there's a panel discussion like being created with the political science club that who's actually doing it. So if anyone has ideas about that, like how it should be structured, I know right now there's some things are in the air in terms of like 4 teachers kind of set up on like a pedestal, and then people coming up and asking questions. So it could be strictly information based, or maybe if they come down and it's in like a more intimate setting where everyone's on the same level and it's kind of like more of a general assembly feel. Some ideas being thrown around. If anyone has input that we can bring back.
Another thing, more food for thought. I know we've been talking about a lot of, kind of sending people down to Wall Street, small groups, going with that. What I was thinking about today was maybe finding a day where, like, a majority of Occupy Poughkeepsie is going down there as a presence. And, we have signs for Occupy Valley, Occupy Poughkeepsie. down there and really, all the different working groups, really talk about our presence, have a good presence there. We can have our own camp there and talk to everyone that comes by, because there's tons of people from the state that go down there that probably don't know what's going on. And I know, we don't want to abandon us here. I'm talking about kind of in the future, but just something to really think about, having us maybe all be able to go down there together as a family and really have a camp down there for a couple, maybe 2 nights, something like that, and really get the word out to people down there, that are going. People down there that have nothing, have left and gone to Boston that want to come there to Washington, that want to come there to Boston. So if we can get, guys, train rides, put train rides up here, I think people will talk about that. So that's something I was thinking about. There's numbers that help too.
If we go down to Occupy Wall Street too, I was there, for the 3 days I was there, I met people who were spreading the word in Australia, Israel, France, all over, people who were spreading that, so that would be really good. If we're down there for a solid day, even 12 hours, we can really try to talk to a lot of people, and the word will go everywhere. Also, I was wondering, there was some talk over the last few days about possibly going door to door to spread the word about this. I've heard people who are for it, people who are not for it. I would kind of like to find out how you guys all feel, because if it's good, then I'm going to go tomorrow and start getting a feel of the right direction.
What we discussed was 2 committees, direct action and kitchen, the 2 that are up right now. Obviously more will come the further along we get. That's something I would think would be for direct action, public awareness sort of thing. And we should, although that is a great idea, we should set up time and we should get discussions on when these groups are going to meet so we can facilitate another meeting directly strictly to direct action. Where are we going to rally? How often we're going to rally? What are we going to do to get the public aware? Food drive, etc. Community-based things.
Yeah, the door-to-door thing, me personally, I'm totally against that one. I think if information and awareness is your goal, you have to take into consideration how people process that. You know what I'm saying? And one of the ways people tend to shun the information giver is when you invade their personal bubble, in their space. You know what I'm saying? And everybody who has a home also leaves that home. And my idea is better to do that. And whatever you're planning on doing at the doorstep, to catching people at the mall, the grocery stores, the streets, things like that, I think that would work a lot better. Me personally, when I see someone come into my house, I instantly go into either a cop or I go into my Jehovah's Witness protection mode. It's instantly really not hearing what they say. You know what I mean? So that's something that I think that's really any dangerous thing. I have something else that I really want to say.
No, you were up first, actually.
All right, thanks. I'll second that. I grew up in Newburgh, and I've lived in some really rough areas, and I know that maybe in some more developed kind of artsy-fartsy area, going door to door might be more receivable, so to speak. But in the hood and whatnot, man, like you're saying, people just want to be chill. They work 60 hours and they got home. They don't want no people just knocking on their door. You like what he did. You never know. People just don't want to be bothered by that. They'll be more likely to hear you if you're, in a rather meeting.
So maybe we should send people up and down east. That way there's people walking up and down the street. There's always groups of young people hanging out on corners and walking or send people to Corley's Manor or some walk down, send people down there for projects. There's always groups of people. I approach them yo, what's up guys? Just want to let you know. As opposed to going onto their homes, just opposed to go to Uri out and about. So that's what
Peace! Woo! Woo!
What about in-betweens? I agree. I used to pass out a lot of information years ago, and but I didn't go to door and say, hey, let me speak to you for a few minutes, because I would probably feel the same way, oh no, who's coming to my door? But how about in-between? You guys are making a lot of good flyers, I see, and there's a lot of good info. Instead of knocking on the door and saying, let me speak to you for a minute, where people may just shut down automatically, how about going door to door and just sticking a flyer under a doormat? You know, because people are more likely to, what's this? You know, some might throw it out, but they're more likely to read something than want to listen to something coming from someone's mouth. You got to remember the conditioning runs deep, so it's more likely someone's going to actually read material if they actually see it. The second part, real quick, I'm sorry, but someone mentioned earlier about the homeless population in Poughkeepsie. You know, maybe somehow get involved or have an influence or make a dent in a family partnership up on Hamilton Street. You know, there's a large homeless community that goes there for services in, I forget what it's called, the living room in that building, where there's a lot of, you know, different homeless services involved there, too. Oh, yeah.
You know, those are all really good points as far as going to work. So they see the right direction. These gentlemen are doing, you're absolutely right, though. I mean, there's many people you can preach to them, passing out flyers is a good idea. We do always have to we're kind of short on people who can print stuff out, so if anybody's willing to print out flyers,
yep.
I mean, I know it's more like solidarity more than fusion. Even spending a night homeless shelter, talking to people there, I'm more than willing to do that. So the night shelter, talk to people, have the flyers there. I mean, it's like, oh, you're actually here with me homeless. It's like, oh, we're gonna stay here.
I was just over at the family partnership, and I let a bunch of people know about tomorrow, about the march tomorrow, and there was actually a few people that were interested that said they were going to stop by, because that's where I just was for the coat and shoe drive. And that is a good idea to maybe everyone go down there one night and talk about it to everyone, because I'm very, very sure that you will get a good result out of telling those people what's going on, and they'll come down and support you. I'm going to make a motion right now. I think it's already 8:11. I'm wondering if maybe we could discuss this marching room. All I've heard is that there might be a march. That's all I know.
I think what the idea is that tomorrow we're expecting a huge group of people to come here at noon at the General Assembly. Our homeless liaison for the junior, I forgot his name is, the teacher from Carmel, the North Boston area. He's going to have a lot of the teachers come down, and at that moment, we're going to have a decision among the consensus at that point to what we're going to do. I think what it will happen will be down the financial district, up Main Street, down Main Street, back to kind of right here, and then children all day. Right now, I think that's what's happening. I think we should wait for tomorrow.
I think it's a good idea. I'm not going to be here, but as we're marching down the street in like the local area, we should have signs that say like Occupy Wall Street, and then like some other sign maybe right next to it, like where we're at, like Market Street. You know what I mean? Green Ledges, whatever. Eastman Park, something towards, you know, just so people know like they can always come back here, like we're headed back here. Yeah.
In terms of security, when we're on the march, I feel as though there should be at least one or two people here just to make sure that our stuff isn't trifled. Any volunteers at this point? I know it's not really like that pertinent at the moment, but I feel you on that. Yeah.
One of the concerns I had was, you know, the idea of you know, bringing in homeless people, and I don't want to sound like it can't be done, or it shouldn't be done, or that I just think like there might be some, you know, we don't want to like, obviously what we're doing, we want to help people, so we don't want to like discriminate, but at the same time I feel, you know, there should be some cadence there, and also the logistical aspect, of course, that, you know, we can say, yeah, let's get all the homeless people in here. Well, we're not going to be able to get all homeless people in the tent, you know what I mean? So we can get sleeping bags, we can probably, you know, set that up, but I mean, just thinking about the logistics of that, and, you know, what is the consensus on, you know, how we're going to actually go about doing that if we go do that?
I was going to say the same thing. This is a topic brought up on whatever, a couple more people too. I myself have been homeless. I've spoken to a lot of people around here. There are a lot of people, homeless people with mental illnesses.
Occupy Wall Street is 7 people at the same time. And I do even want to advertise to get the word out, but I think we should focus on other groups first, and then bring them in once we start to grow. And I think that's the correct action. Don't look out for the correct action.
I have to say, every comments from the people around me all the time. I just want to encourage everybody to really, action. Like, when I come here, I've been here pretty much all day today. You know, I'm at the time, and I come here with friends, trying to get here every day. But how the schedule is. But I gotta say, man, usually when I come here, there's either 3 people sitting on the bench and everyone else in the tent, or there's a couple people lingering around here. One of the reasons why a lot of marches actually work as far as getting information out there is because the change won't come from the march. The change will come from information brought from the march to the people that change too. Now, action, man, we, including myself, we need to be on the street, like sleep wherever. I know the issue of sleep keeps on getting brought up, it's important, but during the day, especially during from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock when DSS is open. You're talking about people that are affected economic-wise, people that are affected by this. DSS is right there. You know what I mean? Like, DSS, yo. You don't get no more direct from people that are affected by this conflict. So, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, guys, people need to be on the street. 5 o'clock, bullhorns, whatever you need to do, you know what I'm saying? Really like to where people aren't walking by and looking at it. People are down the street, looking down the street, going, oh, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I think that's really important, and I'm really seeing a lack of that here, and I'm included in that, I've been really late on sitting here, doing people and stuff, and not being out on the street, really important. I think Vassar College, Main Street, even kids, even go to projects, go everywhere, you'd be surprised how many people are open to this, man. How many people walk by, come down, and ask us what's going on, you know what I'm saying? There's a few of us that are really educated on it, actually say, look, this is what we see, this is why we're here. And these people are like, I am so down with you, and really encourage them to go back and spread this thing, like, like cancer, we got to be on the street. I just want to encourage you to say that. Be on the street.
Also, like, if we decide to stay here, which we did for tonight, we had the past 2 nights, like, if some people want to go out and, like, maybe, like, 2 or 3 and eat, like, across the street or, like, up front, like, I feel like some of the best interaction we've had with the community is people kind of wandering around, like through small hours of the night. So that's a good piece of something to
Yeah, I think what's important too, I mean, getting out on the sidewalk, I agree. I think it's what message are we trying to spread at the same time? What are we trying to inform the masses of? And I think a big piece of that is what we're talking about, this global, economic crisis that's happening. But I think it's important to really spread, why. And you see these people losing their houses, and you see these people that are really losing everything they have, and, try to allow them to understand, well, why are you losing your houses? And a lot of people don't really understand why. I mean, you ask them, well, you lost your house. Well, why? Well, because I lost my job. Well, why? Well, because my job had to do layoffs. Well, how come? Well, because the banking institution, so on and so forth. Well, if it was the banks, who's taking away your house? The banks. So the same organizations that created the problem are taking your house away when you had nothing to do with the problem. And I think that's a big piece of raising awareness of
of people understanding what is happening and why it's happening and what they can do about it. Because collectively, we're a massive force. We're a massive force. Divided, we are completely conquered. And that's why there's so many tools used to divide us from us. You know, all these different tools. I don't need to go through them all, but, you know, there's so many tools used to divide us from us. And I think that's what we got to spread. We're one force. And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of us understanding how powerful we actually are. You know, and I think that's a huge, huge piece of what goes on here. And at the same time, you know, to raise awareness, there's a lot we can do to really, you know, offer up what can happen as far as on our part, you know, collectively. What are we going to offer them? And I can just give one suggestion that people are already doing and getting arrested for doing it, which is insane, is also suggesting to people, close your bank accounts with these major banks. Close your bank accounts with the Bank of America and all these other Rothschild banks, because they're the ones that created the problem. What's the best way to boycott a bank? You take your money out of their banks, because they make money off of your money. You know, if you need to have an account, put it in a smaller type of bank. And spread things such as that. There's so many other things we can spread. That's just two examples.
Yeah, just to add to that, totally crucial. If you're talking to someone, like a good way I found out to engage them is just like find common ground. Use their experience to get them to listen and to engage them in what's going on.
This is off topic, but before we close the GA, I think it needs to be discussed. We talked about cigarettes. Yes, cigarettes around children is absolutely unacceptable. Take it out of the park. Cigarettes around pregnant, cigarettes the old, keep that away from them. Go out to the park. It's not that hard. We have shoes on. We're prepared. But I think something more important is drugs and alcohol. We have discussed that is not allowed. This is not a representation of us, and I don't want that representing me. If you have drugs or alcohol, don't bring it in the tent, don't bring it in the park, do it outside somewhere else. I don't want to sound like a police force, but if I see it, I feel uncomfortable bringing it up by myself, like, oh, I'm that guy. But I want to have a gentleman where we all get together, we all, like, not calling someone out, but listen, we talked about this, this is not what we're doing here. Go do it on your own time.
And at the same time, I do want to say that, you know, if you do drugs or alcohol, you can just not hear. You know, yeah, but there's also a difference between being, but if you do come here and you are belligerent or something like that, that's not okay either. So this has to be really, I believe this is really speaking like as it comes, but absolutely no drugs or alcohol in the park at any time. That includes people from the community that come here and that hang out, and that, you know, it's like saying like, listen guys, like I know you usually do this, you know, look for police, if you're going to police, you stay away from this thing right now. Be more than welcome to come back here, but you know, if you're doing anything that's drug or alcohol, I think we all need to have a voice on that too.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, the kid that came down the other day smoking L, yo, and a few of us went up to him and said, look, man, please, like, we totally respect the fact that you want to do that, you know, whatever. Please don't do it here because it's a reflection. All right, not only is it a reflection, and it's going to be, basically, people are going to think that we can not, you know, we condone that, but they might think we promote it, they might think whatever. Little food for thought here, yo. Do what you want, you know, with this information, do what you want with your bodies and your lives, yo. Drugs in general, okay, especially when you get into the hardcore drugs, it's another tool for enslavement, you know what I mean? Look at, I'm sure half Christopher and heroin addicts, and whatever else on the addict, yo, they're tools for enslavement, man. Like, not only are they brought in by the government, yo, to keep us trapped, they're brought in by the same government that's prosecuting us for it. They're tools that they keep us. Forget the fact that they keep us completely dumb and retarded and tunnel visioned onto only going after that one particular substance. You mean, but that's what they supply job security, yo. When we feed into that, and this is just food for thought. This has nothing to do with, you know, this isn't plant rash or anything like that. But when you feed into that, yo, you are really contributing to the problem. You mean, like, it supports terrorism. They say that all over the news. Drugs support terrorism. The only difference is
CIA terrorism.
The enemy is at the time. Of course, terrorism, yes. But terrorism also is called CIA, government, whatever you want to call it, that's terrorism. You know what I'm saying? So, personally, you know what I mean, if you're going to come here looking to make a change, you might want to do so if you're in line. You might want to do so. Being able to receive as much information and give it as possible. just do what you want. I don't care if you go out here and shoot 10 bundles, but just know who you're supporting. I mean, it's not just health protection. You're supporting the enemy. The enemy is around.
I just had a question going back to the idea of engaging with the local people and talking about getting their feedback. Maybe if anybody has any suggestions, some of the techniques to if there would be like a conversational technique to kind of persuade people who feel like their job security is on the line. I mean, there are a lot of people right now that, despite the economic conditions, they're doing okay. And I think that attitude of complacency, even though they might have a heart and feel have empathy for homeless people or other people's plights, they don't have the. I just don't feel like for a lot of people it's pertinent in their mind, and you have to kind of sell
drug rifle. I think we all need to have a voice on that too.
Yeah, I agree with that. The kid that came down the other day smoking an L, and a few of us went up to him and said, look, man, please, we so respect the fact that you want to do that, whatever. Please don't do it here because it's a reflection. All right, not only is it a reflection, and it's going to be, basically people are going to think that we can condone that, but they might think we promote it, they might think whatever. Little food for thought here, yo. Do what you want, with this information, do what you want with your bodies and your lives, Drugs in general, okay, especially when you get into hardcore drugs, it's another tool for enslavement, you know what I mean? Look at, I'm sure half puts some in heroin addicts and whatever else kind of addicts, they're tools for enslavement, man. Like, not only are they brought in by the government, to keep us trapped, they're brought in by the same government that's prosecuting us for it. They're tools that they keep us. Forget the fact that they keep us completely dumb and retarded and tunnel visioned onto only going after that one sickness. You mean, but that's what they supply job security, When we feed into that, and this is just food for thought. This has nothing to do with this is plant cracks or anything like that. But when you feed into that, you are really contributing to the problem. You mean, it supports terrorism. They say that all over the news. Drugs support terrorism. The only difference is
CIA terrorism.
The enemy is not the common enemy. It supports terrorism, yes. But terrorism also is more of CIA, government, whatever you want to call it, that's terrorism is supported. You know what I'm saying? So, personally, if you're going to come here looking to make a change, you might want to do so if you're in line. You might want to do so. Being able to receive as much information and give it as possible. I can't stress more, this is disinformation war. We are at war. All the weapons are information, disinformation, and weapons of mass distraction. That is what this is about. So, just do what you want. I don't care if you go out here and shoot 10 bundles, but just know who you're supporting. It's not just health protection. You're supporting the enemy. The enemy is around.
I just had a question going back to the idea of engaging with the local people and talking about getting their feedback. Maybe if anybody has any suggestions, some of the techniques to if there would be like a conversational technique to kind of persuade people who feel like their job security is on the line. I mean, there are a lot of people right now that, despite the economic conditions, they're doing okay. And I think that attitude of complacency, even though they might have a heart and feel have empathy for homeless people or other people's plights, they don't have the. I just don't feel like for a lot of people it's pertinent in their mind, and you have to kind of sell have empathy for homeless people or other people's plights. They don't have the. I just don't feel like for a lot of people it's pertinent in their mind, and you have to kind of sell.
All right, I'm down here at Occupy Poughkeepsie on Market Street. You can't see much, a little dark. How you doing, sir? Your name?
My name is Jason Baylor.
Hey, Jason, how you doing? Yeah, basically, I just wanted to ask you,
we're down here at Occupy Poughkeepsie, and if I could just get your opinion on why. First off, why are you down here? What is it that you see in this group that attracted you to come down and support us tonight?
Well, I see a good group of people trying to get together and trying to raise awareness of what's going on financially and economically, and what's going on as far as how people are being screwed by the banks. Starting with Wall Street, of course, that's where it started, but also stemming to the Federal Reserve, which is really a private bank owned by the Rothschild family. The Bank of England, all these different central banks. I'm here to support people trying to raise awareness of why people are losing their jobs in supposedly the richest country in the world. People are losing everything they own because of the banks, and they have not done a thing as far as the people go, but yet the people are getting screwed when the banks are calling in their loans to create this economic crisis, just like they did with the Great Depression, which was finally admitted. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to support anyone that's here to spread awareness. I personally don't stand for any group or under any person. Mm-hmm. I am all for all groups that are here to help, to love, and to spread awareness. That's what I'm all about.
Absolutely, that's very important. All right. In your experience, if you could, a lot of the thing is, a lot of people around here don't know what the Occupy movement's about. What it is that a lot of these people down here are standing for, as well as the people in Unity down in Wall Street. They have Occupy movements in Washington and LA, and even across the world now, such as Rome, Spain, Greece. What have you seen that might be a common ground as far as effects? Like how, for instance, have you been affected by the global crisis that's happening right now that we're trying to stand against? How have you personally? What is one or a couple of ways that you've been affected personally?
Well, my job, for instance, I still have a job that I love, luckily. It's rare if people are working to do what they love. Most people are doing work just so they can feed their children, so they get enough worthless paper and digits on a computer screen to be able to have a roof over their head. And if that's not insane, I don't know what is. I mean, luckily I do have a job, but the funding of my job is being cut massively. People are losing their jobs where I work. It's getting completely insane as far as there goes. But I'm witnessing it all around me. I know people that have lost their jobs. I know people that have lost everything, everything they have. Mm-hmm. And people, I think, need to understand that this is orchestrated. This is not an accidental crisis. This is orchestrated, and it's been planned long, long ago. It's not something that, oh my God, there's a housing bubble. I mean, those are just tips of the iceberg. It's kind of like the tip of the tumor. What's happening here has been created long ago in order to, the 2008 crisis was talked about by us a long time ago, all right? And we now know that the second part of this crisis will be in 2011 into 2012, and right on this cusp, that's where we are right now, the second wave of this crisis is going to happen. And that's when we're truly going to see the impact of the banking scam. But it all stems back to the different forces behind the banks, that's actually creating this. So we need to protest Wall Street, but we need to protest the central bank. Mm-hmm. Why are we at war? We go to war in every single country that takes away the power from the Rothschild central bank. Why did we carpet bomb Libya? Oh yeah, we're liberating Libya by carpet bombing them. What did Gaddafi do? He took the power away from the central bank. Who owned the central bank? The Rothschilds. We wanted to invade Venezuela. Why? Because Chavez took the power away from the central bank. Mm-hmm. Us and Israel, which were really controlled by Israel through AIPAC, they're the ones that, us and them, want to attack Iran for a long time now. Yep. Because they took the power away from the central banks. The central banks have been used for a long, long time to enslave nations with debt. That's what we're enslaved. But people need to wake up and understand their enslavement, because you're not going to fight enslavement if you have no idea you're even a slave. Right. Once you wake up to this enslavement, you can actually wake up and say, you know what? I'm being screwed. I'm being screwed completely. Not just me, not just Bob down the road, all of us. And we got to understand we're one-fourth. We are one-fourth. And they try to separate us from us using various tools of political parties, which if you believe we really live in a two-party system, there's still problems going on here, because there's no such thing as a two-party system in the United States of America. They're two faces on the same coin of corruption. They divide us by different religious ideologies. We fight amongst each other over numerous ideologies that are based on the same principles, which is manipulated from ancient knowledge. We divide us by skin color.
What is our skin? It's just our bodies that our consciousness is driving this reality in. We divide ourselves by income bracket, and that's where we are now. Income bracket, the destruction of not only the middle class, but the lower class and even the upper class in certain respects.
Yeah.
This is a war against not blacks, not whites, not Jewish, not Muslims. This is a war against all of us. All of us. And that's why we got to get together, because their fear is that we're going to truly remember our true power. And our true power comes in numbers. We're all one, people.
Absolutely.
We're all one. And they try to separate us. It's only a minute amount of people or manipulators that control 7 billion people, and the only way they do it is because we allow it collectively. We allow it. And in some cases, people actually fight for their own enslavement.
Mm-hmm.
They fight for it. They fight for their own enslavement. So we're here to spread awareness to what is going on. At least that's why I'm here. I can only really speak for me, but we really need to spread awareness. That's what we do. If people, again, have no idea they're slaves, why are they going to fight against it if they don't know it exists? It's for us to truly wake up. And there's been awakening happening for a long time. And I'm really behind the Occupy movement because it's about spreading awareness. It's about saying, hey, something is up here. Finally, people are waking up. Close your accounts, people. Close your accounts with Bank of America, all the different Rothschild banks. That is a way to boycott the banks.
Right.
Once you do that, it's going to make an impact, little by little. It's not going to be overnight, but little by little. Think about it. The only way a handful of people can control 7 billion people by using worthless paper, which isn't even backed by gold anymore, is if we allow it. Is that not insane? If I don't have enough paper or digits on the screen, I can't feed my child? What?
No.
That is not insane? It's completely ridiculous. We have been manipulated for thousands of years, not hundreds, thousands of years. But people are waking up. People are waking up and opening that mind to what we really are. What we really are, and we're infinite consciousness, experiencing this reality through different perspectives. And once we understand that, once we understand our true power, we will understand what we can actually do. They're shitting their pants right now. Why? Because they understand that people are finally awakening. Finally awakening. Once the illusion crashes, it's all over. But the only way it's going to crash is we stop going along with it. That's the only way it's going to crash, if we stop going along with our own enslavement.
Agreed. Absolutely. All right, I know you guys are pressed for time. I wanted just to put a real important, pose one more question to you. I don't mean this to seem like a little interview, but I do. I think knowledge is very, very valuable, as is wisdom and information, and you happen to be full of it. So, my important question to you is if you could broadcast out there certain techniques that if someone came up to you and asked, what can I do, as far as what kind of help could the common person that's just walking by on the street and wants to get involved, what could they do? What's something that they could get involved with that can really help us make a change and move toward our goal? What would you suggest to the common person who wants to help but doesn't quite know what to do or how to start?
Well, there's so many things we can do. And the first thing you got to change is you, inside. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. You change your internal self, your external projection of this reality will change. But it's got to be a collective change internally. Second, we can take information. Information is power, knowledge is power, but if you get a bunch of BS of knowledge, you're going to get a bunch of BS of power. So you got to get the right knowledge. You got to see if it resonates with you. Where does this come from? If you watch the news and all this other stuff, you're getting a bunch of propaganda and BS that really implants negative belief systems, which brings lower grade frequencies of fear into the subconscious. Once that occurs, they have you under control. And once you're under control and you don't realize it, they can play you like a puppet. And that's how all of us have been. Even me. All of us have been this way. Spread things. Get information. Hand it out. Burn DVDs. I burn tons of DVDs. I've given out thousands, literally, of DVDs of what's going on. Just different documentaries, papers, literature I hand out. I put it under people's doorsteps, stick it in their mailboxes. I do a radio show personally. I do a weekly radio show because I like spreading info. Even use their tools like Facebook and MySpace that's used against you to gather information about you, to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? I just gather data about you. Use their tools against them.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why in Egypt, the protests going on in Egypt, they used Facebook to gather together. That's why they shut Facebook down. And that's why the Obama administration is talking about the kill strip, excuse me, I'm cold so I can't talk, the kill switch for the internet.
That's so sick.
Because we're using their tools against them now. I use Facebook. but I only use it to spread info.
Right.
I don't use it to say, oh my God, I'm going to the bathroom now. I'm eating a sandwich now. No,
Yeah.
I do it to say, look, here's some information. Either read it or don't. That's your choice. But I'm going to give the information. You know, spread this stuff out. You know, the information, the DVDs, all this kind of stuff. Speak out to people. You know, create groups in your communities. You know, there's so many things you can do to spread information. But with this movement, not only spreading the info and passing out literature, as I said earlier, close your bank accounts with the major banks. Close them. Because those major banks, if you don't know what fiat currency is, they can loan out 10 times the amount that they have. How is that possible? Because all they're doing is typing in digits on a computer screen to enslave you. Close your accounts with major banks. I have an account, but not with a major bank. All right? There's so much you can do. Here's the last part, too, which maybe it should have been first. I said change the internal to change the external. Love. Love. Love everyone. Don't ever hate. Because if you ever hate anyone, you're hating a partial or a portion of your own self. We're all one collective force. We may not like everyone's qualities, but we're all one. What is the rule of consciousness? Consciousness is energy. It can't be created, destroyed, and it's all interconnected as one. You know, love everyone, but you got to love yourself and be able to do it. Love is freedom. An open mind and an open heart will set you free beyond belief. And information and being able to love yourself and what's around you is the key to all this. That is why society is based in fear. You don't do this, you get a fine. If you don't do this, you're going to go to jail. If you don't do this, I'm going to take your child away using these structures like CPS. That's fear, 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 left brain structured society. We got to use the right hemisphere, which is creativity and thinking outside the box and opening the heart to all of us, because we're all one entity, all one force. That's why they separate us. We're here to change this projection in this third dimension. We're here to love, to gain knowledge, and change this projection. It's time we do it. It's time we wake up from our slumber.
Absolutely. You know, I agree. It's definitely time. So I want to thank you, as Jason Baylor, everybody. If real quick, if you're willing, can you just tell our audience what the web address is to that talk radio show, if you recall it offhand, how we can get a hold of that?
Yeah, if you want to check out the weekly radio show, it's on Blog Talk Radio. It's www.blogtalkradio.com/infinite consciousness. The show is Awake and Aware. It's tons of information. If you want to check out the Awake and Aware part of the Solution Facebook page, I use their tool against them by using it for info spreading. There's so much out there. Please, society. We got to use the right hemisphere, which is creativity and thinking outside the box and opening the heart to all of us, because we're all one entity, all one force. That's why they separate us. We're here to change this projection in this third dimension. We're here to love, to gain knowledge, and change this projection. It's time we do it. It's time we wake up from our slumber.
Absolutely. You know, I agree. It's definitely time. So I want to thank you, as Jason Baylor, everybody. If real quick, if you're willing, can you just tell our audience what the web address is to that talk radio show, if you recall it offhand, how we can get a hold of that?
Yeah, if you want to check out the weekly radio show, it's on Blog Talk Radio. It's www.blogtalkradio.com/infinite consciousness. The show is Awake and Aware. It's tons of information. If you want to check out the Awake and Aware part of the Solution Facebook page, I use their tool against them by using it for info spreading. There's so much out there. Please, using it for info spreading. There's so much out there. Please